We're going to dedicate this video to that man right there, Deathstroke the Terminator, one of the great comic book characters of all time. And I'm going to show you guys a grail, a personal grail of mine that I never thought that I would own, and I'm so proud to show it today. And it's going to be going into my Keeper project in the blue chip tier. The blue chip. Got 4 books in that blue chip tier now. Deathstroke the Terminator. I believe that guy, from all that I've read from him, and I started reading him in the New Teen Titans when they were towards almost the end of the Marv Wolfman run, when he was writing the Wildebeest stories. And then I started getting his back issues and stuff because I just loved the way that he was shown helping out the Teen Titans at the time. And I just got immersed in that character, man. And then they came out with his own title, Deathstroke the Terminator. And I was already a huge Batman fan at the time, and Batman now, he's my number 1 or number 2 superhero of all time, right? Him and Thor, right? And my personal, of course. But when that book came out, Deathstroke beat the living hell out of Batman there. I already knew about Deathstroke and what he can do, so I didn't really have too much of a problem with it, but I thought that he took care of Batman way too easily. In issue number 7, they continued it. There was a big backlash. At the time, though, there was no computers. It was 1992 when that came out. So all the backlash was in the mail. So what DC did was, in Batman's book, they had Batman beat Deathstroke in his book. Ever since then, Batman and Deathstroke have been great matchups for one another, and they should be. They should be. You know, realistically though, Deathstroke, he's got superhuman powers and an intellect that is. In the beginning, they said he could use 90% of his brain. It has now been changed to he uses 9 times the capacity of the normal human brain. In essence, he is a supercomputer. He absorbs knowledge. So Marv Wolfman created Deathstroke Terminator in December of 1980. When he created him, he was pretty much a ripoff of Captain America. Now, there's a lot of great characters out there that are ripoffs of somebody else. I like Clark the Gladiator, but he's a ripoff of Superman. A lot of people like the Sentry, but he's a ripoff of Superman. Hyperion has some fans. I don't think that he has a lot of fans, but he's definitely got some. He's a rip-off of Superman, and so is Supreme, right? The Black Panther, you might not like what I'm going to say if you're a fan of the Black Panther, but he's a rip-off of Batman. But they're great characters. Deadpool is a rip-off of Deathstroke. And that Deathstroke is a ripoff of Captain America. Except they gave him a lot more powers than Captain America. So how do they compare? How does he compare to Cap? He was in the military. The military did experiments on him and gave him his superpowers. The only thing is that instead of going to fight for America, he went to fight for himself, because he's smart. You know, he's not going to fight for somebody else. He's not going to go out there and fight for Trump or Obama. No, he's gonna make money, man. Guy thinks 9 times better than you do. So he's like, he's like, I'm out of here. So Deathstroke, not only is he a supercomputer, a living supercomputer, he has superhuman strength, superhuman reflexes, agility, he can reason, he could absorb knowledge, so he has a vast knowledge on fighting styles and weapons, and he has a healing factor, not like Wolverine's, but he heals much faster than the average human. Two characters that Deathstroke gets often compared to are the Taskmaster, created by David Michelinie in June of 1980, and Deadpool, created by Frank Nicieza and the great talent that is Rob Liefeld, who copycats a ton of characters, by the way, has done so anyway. I mean, look at the Wildcats. Is the guy talented? Absolutely, he's talented, but his characters do tend to look a lot like other characters. All right, let's go with the Taskmaster first, though. A lot of people think that Deathstroke copied off of him. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He copied off of Cap. Taskmaster, he injected steroids into his bloodstream, and that's what caused his brain to absorb knowledge in a much faster rate than a human does. Hence, he's able to duplicate moves of any move of his adversary, especially like a guy like Daredevil, who doesn't have superhuman powers. He can mimic him. The Black Widow, he can mimic her. Hawkeye, he can mimic anything that Hawkeye can do, as long as they're human. Now, if you're superhuman, he can't jump 30 feet like Spider-Man can, or he can't lift a car like Spider-Man can, because he doesn't have superhuman strength. In a way, I mean, a lot of people do like the Taskmaster. I can't say that I like him, but I don't dislike him. It's not like I dislike him like I do Kang, for example, right? I just don't think that certain characters should have a hard time with Taskmaster, like a guy like Spider-Man. Shouldn't have a hard time with him, even though he has had a hard time with him in the past. But he shouldn't, because Spider-Man is superhuman. Like, there's no way that he should be able to mimic Spider-Man, but in various times that they fought, he somehow has, But anyway, if Deathstroke were to go up against this guy, he's dead. He's dead. He can't do anything to Deathstroke. I mean, not really, Deathstroke is much smarter than him, and he's got superhuman powers, and he's got a healing factor. Now, however, what Deathstroke doesn't have is he doesn't have an IP that is owned by Disney. Unfortunately for him, his IP is owned by AT&T. Taskmaster, however, I'm going to show you guys the Comic Link auction that just finished. Right here, Taskmaster in a 9.8. This just ended on the 31st. The 9.8 just sold for $2,300 in a direct. Now, just 2 days later, Deathstroke sells for $880, April 2nd, also in Comic Link, in a Comic Link auction. Now, if we look at history, recent history, of course, of Avengers 196, in a 9.8, you're looking at 1700, 1500, 1500, 1600, 2300, and 10 again, 1200, 1400, 1400. So this character is selling for pretty good money, man. It's pretty good money. Whereas New Teen Titans in a 9.8 is selling at 900, 999, 800, 880, 895, 760, and 800. You get it. So without a doubt, Taskmaster is selling at a much better premium than Deathstroke is. Let's look at other clones. Mr. Deadpool. Recent history on him, 9.8s. We're going to look at the 9.8s here. Look, I don't really like Go Collect where it says a fair market value is $1,500 when you have books that are selling for $2,610, $2,400, $2,200. What is this right here? $1,100? What the heck is that? Why did that sell for $1,100? Must be something with that, huh? Maybe somebody listed it for $1,100. Was that a buy it now? What the heck? Oh my God! They put it as a best offer. Look at that. That's not paying attention to the market, guys. Somebody lucked out there big time. Whoever put this out is an absolute... Nah, you know what? I'm not going to call them names, but pay attention, dude. He put a best offer out there, original $11.99, when the book is going for over $2,000. Why would you do that? Educate yourself, dude. He could have gotten $3,000 for that. Could have gotten $3,000. Oh my God. This is what I mean, guys. This is what I mean about, like, educate your kids. Because when you take off and you die, you don't want your kid to go out and see Very Gary comics. Trust me on that. Because he'll take those books. He's not the only one. There'll be a lot of guys out there that will take those collections for pennies on the dollar. You know, this guy... Alright, but anyway, we get off track. I'm always getting off track here. Alright, now, let's look at the CGC census, just for the hell of it, okay? This is New Mutants 98. We have 3,939. We saw that last time, alright, when I was comparing him to somebody else. Over 20,495. Alright. So 3,900. We're going to call it 4,000. We're going to call that 4,000 graded almost, right? This one is Avengers. Now, only has 258 9.8s. Total of 2,974 graded. So there's not that many 9.8s of the Taskmaster. And then we have New Teen Titans number 2. Has 804. Total graded 5396. 800. So there's a lot less of Taskmaster. Now, is the Taskmaster that much better, though, than Deathstroke? I don't think the Taskmaster can even compare to Deathstroke. In my opinion. Now, this is me, guys. I've never really gotten into the Taskmaster or to... even though I like Deadpool a lot more than I like the Taskmaster, but that's only because of what they've done with Deadpool in the MCU. You know, for the most part, when Deadpool came out, I despised him because he was a direct ripoff of Deathstroke. Even his name, Wade Wilson from Slade Wilson, he has a healing factor. Now, Deadpool's healing factor, they made it like Wolverine's healing factor, though maybe even better than Wolverine's, if that's possible, right? But at least they didn't give him superhuman strength, right? And the mentality, kind of Deadpool is like more like crazy, like, but yeah, at the time, that's the only reason why I didn't go after the Deadpool books, because when they say collect what you like, sometimes that's great, but also collect what other people, especially if you see a trend going out there, right? I wouldn't say collect it for your collection, but maybe keep it around, because if you see somebody like it and another guy like it, and you're seeing a trend going with that particular book, you might be able to profit off of it, right? Like the Sentry, I saw people liking the Sentry, so I went after. I only went after one, but I wish I would have went after more. But that's a book that I'm not going to keep in the collection, but I'm definitely going to sell it. With Deathstroke, I've been buying and selling Deathstroke for a long time, right? At least 25 that I've sent to CGC, but I've never received a 9.8. Never received a 9.8. Now, most of the time I didn't get them pressed, though. But what I would do is I would sell it, get more, and always try for the 9.8, to a point where, because I never got a 9.8, I went out and bought a 9.8. This is for the collection. And I went out and bought another 9.8 for the collection. And I actually bought a third 9.8, which I think I have in a different location. And I believe that one's a newsstand. I'm almost positive that one's a newsstand. But I'll show you guys what I have next. Oh man, and I absolutely love it. 800 9.8s for the regular New Teen Titans. It's not bad. That's really not bad when you consider moderns, and how, book like, say, New Mutants has 4,000 9.8s. I don't know how many more you're going to get of New Teen Titans on number 2 in a 9.8. I'll show you the Grail. Blue chip tier. Now, I put outside of Holy Grails because I didn't think I was going to pick up any Holy Grails. This is a Holy Grail to me, though, and I'll show you guys why. But solid foundation. These books have a history of growth spanning over their lifetime. These books will generally grow at a slower rate than other tiers, but have historical lower risks. This book in particular, though, is more about the lower risks, and I do believe that it will grow. It's going to grow more like the growth tier, because it's going to be based on what DC ends up doing with the character. But this book will not drop in price. It won't drop in price. I guarantee that. I'll show you why in a second. But these are the books preferred by older collectors or investors due to the longevity of sustainable growth with minimal long-term decline. And here's why, okay? This is the book right here, Mr. Mark Spector. Mark Spector actually motivated me to go and look for this book, because he ended up getting his Grail, Werewolf by Night, first appearance of Mark Spector in a Pence variant 7.0, almost as many pence variant 7.0s as there are 9.8s in the regular issue. That's how rare the pences are, man. This is the Pence 9.8. There are only 2 Pence 9.8s of New Teen Titans #2 in the world for CGC, and I am holding one in my hand. That is the definition of a holy grail, because you will not see this book if you ever get the opportunity. I mean, this is assuming I live a long time, guys. If you ever get the opportunity to buy a New Teen Titans #2, another one needs to get graded at a 9.8, which is going to be highly unlikely. I think it is anyway. It could. There could be 3 or 4. All right? I doubt it. But, and then somebody's going to have to be willing to sell it. But you will not see this serial number in the market again. Where is it? Come on. Right there. You're just not going to see it, guys. You ain't going to see it. Not going to happen. Okay? Here is... Now, if I would have bought the regular edition, I would have put it in the growth tier, because there's 804 of them. I have, I believe I have 3 of them. Right now, I have 2 right now. But there's only 2 pence variants. 2. For a total. Now look at the total for the US versions. 5,396. The total for the pences are 62. And only 2 of them are 9.8s. Yo, it's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. So, after I watched Mr. Spectre, I went to eBay just to check out. You know, I always write, there's 2 books that I always look for the pens in a 9.8. DC Comics Presents 26 and New Teen Titans #2 in 9.8. DC Comics Presents I couldn't find, but obviously I found this one. It just happened to be there. So they were asking $16.95 for that one. But when I looked at the seller, it was My Comic Shop. I went to always go to My Comic Shop. If you see an item on eBay that you want, always buy it from My Comic Shop, no matter what. Always preach that, and this is why. My Comic Shop, of course, had it for $14.99. They listed it at $16.95 here because they're trying to make their fees back. There's a reason why they call it Feebay, okay? They do charge a 3% premium, but who cares? After taxes, because Uncle Sam wants his, $16.59 is what I paid, which is less than I would have paid just the regular price on eBay. Assuming a 7% tax on eBay, it would have been $18.13 for the buyer. For me, I paid $16.59. That's over $150 in savings, and that's only because I went to another site. Because I went to My Comic Book Shop site. Even if you were to sell it on, any big book, guys, don't sell it on big books. Don't sell them on eBay. Either sell them on My Comic Shop. You can send them to Comic Link or Heritage. Comic Link, though, and Heritage, they're going to charge you 10% for the entire sale, though. But well, actually, Heritage, I've never sold anything on Heritage, but I know Comic Link will be 10% on the entire sale. All right. listing on eBay, if I were to have, if the person would have listed this on eBay for $1,500, okay, they would have paid fees not on the 1,500, on the total sale. So if you assume 7% taxes, they would have paid fees on 1,605. And the fee bays are right around 15% right now. They're very tricky about showing you their fees now. You know, they don't really show you their fees. They just show you what you're going to get. Very hard to see their fees. I'm calculating them at around 15%. So I'm saying it's $240, around 15%. You would have walked out listing it at $1,500 with $1,260. Whereas in my comic shop, if you listed it at $1,500, the first $300 is at 10%. That's $30. The rest is at 8%, $96. You would have walked out with $1,374 versus $1,260. That's more money in your pocket. That's why you do that. All right, but this is definitely the reason why it is a holy grail. It's because it's very unlikely that you're going to see these books again unless the next guy decides to list his, and then he can actually price it at whatever price he really wants to. You know, he could put I'm not going to, if I ever list this up again, it's not going to be listed at the price that I paid. No, if somebody really wants it, they're going to pay for it. They're just going to pay for it, or I'm just going to keep it. You know? Here's another tip, guys. Here's another tip. This is a very important tip for anybody that's a collector, okay? I always tell you, educate your kids. The last thing that you want to do is leave your collection out there with kids that don't know what to do with it. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to call Very Gary Comics. And they're going to give it to him for like $5, your entire collection. And then he's going to show it on YouTube. And you're going to be turning in your grave. All right, so to avoid all of that, and look, even though this is dark to even think of, but it's something that does need to be discussed, or they're going to get screwed. But have them create a spreadsheet, and then they would have to put each book on that spreadsheet at the time of your passing and create a fair market value for each book. Now, a book like this is going to be kind of hard to put a fair market value on because there's only 2 in the world. However, let's say if they have a book like this, they can say there's 800 of these. It's going to be a lot easier for them to see a fair market value because there's going to be current sales of this book, you know, recent sales, and then they can put that fair market value at the time of your passing, and then that would be their buy-in price because that's coming from your, you know, from their inheritance from you. So it's just a tip, guys, only a tip for the tax man so they don't get in trouble. And you still, you know, you're doing your duty, and you got to keep something and admire something that you liked, like this. I'll be taking this out from time to time and checking it out, you know. But let's look at the project. Keeper project now, blue chip tier. And look, the only reason that that's a blue chip right now, again, is because there's only 2 in the world. If it was the regular US variant, I would have put it in the growth tier because even though it's starting to move, and you know, I'm saying starting in the past like year or so, you know, that book was in the $500 range for a good 10 to 15 years almost. you know. But now it's right around the $800 to $1,000 range. The regular one, right? The pence you can't really gauge too much because they don't come around often, you know, and they're not going to come around again. But this is how it looks like. So I have Terrific Comics, Amazing Spider-Man 300. I didn't think I was going to get one, especially at that price. And New Teen Titans number 2, Pants, man, and Brave and the Bold number 54. But that's going to be a lower grade. Anyway, that's the video for tonight, guys. Deathstroke all the way, my friends. Look, all that it takes is for DC to get their act together and give him justice. Give this guy justice, man. How come Marvel can give justice to a guy like the Punisher and Deadpool, and now hopefully they'll do the same for Taskmaster, and there's no doubt they probably will. Probably. Sometimes I'm not too happy with what they produce sometimes, but for the most part, man, they're Disney into entertainment. They do it well, you know. But why can't DC do that, you know? But when they do, and they will, they have to. Then you'll see this guy take off. Right now we have Al Seed, Mr. Joe Manganiello, playing Deathstroke. I don't know if they're going to keep him or if they're even going to use him again. Snyder Cut was magnificent, in my opinion. But yeah, he definitely looks the part. I don't know that he can act the part. Can he act the part? We'll find out. All right. Later, guys. Hope you like this one.